I've got about 5 or 6 great starts here. I got one idea that I'm especially psyched out of my mind about. You know, it's one of those ideas where you're just like, yes!
Whoa. Great. Could we hear it?
I'll start with the cover. Picture this. You got,
Dad! I'm in love, and I don't care who knows it!
Buddy, not now. Can you please go back to the pit? I'll come and visit you in a little while, okay?
I didn't know you had elves working here.
boy, you're hilarious, my friend.
He doesn't, get back to the story, please.
So, on the cover above the title.
Does Santa know that you left the workshop?
You know, we're all laughing our heads off.
Did you have to borrow a reindeer to get down here?
Buddy, go back to the basement.
Hey, Jackweed, I get more action in a week than you've had your entire life. I've got houses in LA, Paris, and Vail.
Oh.
Each one of them with a 70-inch plasma screen. So I suggest you wipe that stupid smile off your face before I come over there and smack it off. You feeling strong, my friend? Call me Elf one more time.
He's an angry elf. Look at you! Ow! Hey, what? I wasn't ready for that.
Call me Elf one more time. Call me Elf.
You're an elf.
Oh.
He thinks he's an elf. Listen, Miles. Listen, Miles.
He must be a South Pole elf.
You get the hell out of here.
Where do you want me to go?
I don't care where you go. I don't care that you're an elf. I don't care that you're nuts. I don't care that you're my son. Get out of my life now.
My name's Tony Moore. I'm the general manager of Fred Bean's Key and Landmark. I just wanted to take a minute to talk about Larry Feldman at Career Changers USA. Larry and I have been working together for about the last 12 years now. And anything I've ever needed as far as recruiting and training, Larry's been right there. Larry's got me salespeople, he's got me managers, he's got me technicians even through the toughest times in the industry. And he is just the kind of guy who's going to tell you exactly what's on his mind. He's going to tell you exactly what he thinks. But Larry also has the expertise to back it up. When he was in the dealership world, he was a top performer. And that's really important to my staff, especially as it pertains to training. A lot of people can come in and teach out of a textbook, but Larry has a real world experience dealing with customers, dealing with situations in dealerships that we go through on a daily basis and try to train them on. But Larry's been through it, so he can really empathize with the people and tell you what's worked for him and maybe what way not to go. Larry is just always at a 10. I mean, his energy level is always up there. And I think people, they just love that and they feed off of it. He's not faking it. He is genuinely excited to come in and help you. He's excited to come in and help grow your business. And he's one of those people who just really enjoys seeing dealers succeed and have a lot of fun at the same time.
It's about connection. Having a support system to lean on. And roads to endless possibility. At every turn, guiding the way. We are building the connections that move you.
So what would your dealership feel like if your entire sales staff was literally on fire, your sales and service staff? They were nonstop all over social media, completely dominating your marketplace. They could do it in 30 days or less and then continue their education to do it for an entire 6 months or a year. You literally would completely take over the entire marketplace and no one would be able to compete with you. And that's what we can do for you. So when you're walking around your community, whether you're at local restaurants or you're going to the gym, you don't want to be bothered? Fine, you won't be bothered. But a lot of people will walk up to you and say, oh my God, I love your social media. Your staff is amazing. We love what you're doing in the community. We want to come buy a car from you. We want to get an oil change at your dealership. Your community is absolutely going to love you. And it doesn't matter what platform you're on. You could be on TikTok, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, all social media platforms. You will literally be all over the place. And not only will you have ads running, but your own staff is going to be promoting your brand and promoting themselves within the dealership and within the business. So it's like running an ad times 100-fold because your entire staff is participating in the process. I've traveled all over North America. I've trained Toyota. I've trained Nissan. I've been to driving sales. I've been to Women in Auto. I get hired as a speaker for conferences at universities all over the country. And I can help change the trajectory of your dealership right now.
All right. And just in case you weren't aware, I am launching another interview once I get it approved. I did it last week. Interesting guy. He's a sales trainer, multiple industries. He's got about 500,000 LinkedIn followers-ish. So it's an interesting interview around sales and the future of sales. So if you're interested in sales as a profession in general, obviously tune in for that. I should have it out later this week. Now, as we go into the Christmas season, I did a survey on LinkedIn, shocking survey, on Christmas movies of all things, or seasonal movies if you're not a Christmas person. And I had 4 choices. So it was Elf, Die Hard, Christmas Vacation, and Home Alone and Other. And I just wanted to get sort of a vote on, what do you guys think is the, most popular movie so far, at least in your opinion? Go ahead, Troy.
Well, I'm not gonna lie to you. I watch Christmas Vacation on repeat every year, and if I only watch one Christmas movie a year, it's gonna be that one. But I will. I'll add Die Hard to the list, regardless of what other people say on how controversial it is.
Yeah, some people say it isn't a Christmas movie, which I think is kind of interesting, but it's not your traditional Christmas movie, I would say. What do you say, Brandy?
Yeah, I'm there too. They were all great choices. For me, classic is The Grinch, which didn't make the list.
The Grinch, good stuff.
But I'm in a household of kids, so yeah, that's definitely going to come out every year. I definitely, the Griswolds. Who can't do the Griswolds? That's all-time classic for sure.
I saw a billboard driving home the other day. It was the Grinch Happy Meal. I was like, really? Like, what are you guys doing? I thought that was really hilarious.
If only Sue knew, hey? If only Sue knew.
I was like, really? The Grinch Happy Meal? Like, what does that come with, a green plush toy or something? I was like, wow. Larry, any thoughts?
The fries are free.
Yeah, the fries are free, I guess. Larry, any thoughts?
I'm working on it. Can you hear me?
Yeah. So Elf, Die Hard, Christmas Vacation, Home Alone, or other movie is your good seasonal movie, or I don't know, Hanukkah movie, or whatever it is for the year.
Well, the Grinch Stole Christmas is absolutely terrific, but my absolute favorite is Scrooge, which is the Alice version of Christmas Carol. I don't like any Christmas movie. In fact, that's one of my all-time favorite movies, period.
Yeah.
And when you consider how influential that is, how many times that's been borrowed, adapted, the theme stolen, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, there was Scrooge with Bill Murray back in the day. What about Fiddler on the Roof? No Fiddler on the Roof for you?
Well, I'm not real sure that would be considered a Christmas movie.
No.
Hey, if you're going musicals, my all-time favorite musical is 1776, which was the depiction of how they came to an agreement to declare independence. They took all the real dialogue and added a bunch of crazy music, but man, is that fabulous.
Well, I watched on the weekend. It was, I think it was Israel's war. I don't know what that was with all those different countries. I'm not sure the actress who played. I don't know if it's even. That's not even prone. Anyway, she was the prime minister. Really good movie, actually. Really interesting about sort of
Golden Meir.
Yeah, Golda Meir. Really interesting movie. And if you haven't checked out the documentary about Humphrey Bogart, highly recommend that too. That was really interesting. Not at all what I expected. That guy's life was really interesting. I think he was married 4 times, but interesting reality for that guy. Anyway, since we're in the holidays, and I know Larry and myself, and of course Brandy and Troy, we're talking a little bit about data. I know, Troy, if you're interested, you can definitely email Troy for a copy of the report. As you look at AI and data, and I actually checked out a really cool, scary, interesting video. I'll put it in the chat, but it's a new AI video piece, which is kind of crazy, to be honest. The site, what it does is you shoot a quick video of yourself, and then it creates an avatar that is you, which is really crazy. And it's interesting at the same time. But, you know, what is the craziest thing, I guess, you've seen? You've seen, you know, in 2024. That's the tool. So what do you think is sort of the craziest, as we look at Grok and other tools, what do you think is the craziest sort of tool that you've seen in 2024, or maybe the newest tech that you're excited about for 2025? Go ahead, anybody.
You go ahead, Troy.
Well, I think, you know, as far as the tech I'm most crazy about for 2025, is sort of dovetailing off that whole AI thing. I mean, it's a little scary, I'm not going to lie. But as I'm sure you can imagine, I've been sort of immersing myself in the cybersecurity world this year. And when we started to learn about some of the ways that there's intrusions into you know, businesses and people's lives. I was having a chat with a friend of mine, and they were telling me that, you know, they also were learning about cybersecurity. And I refer to the story that my mom, who's in her late 70s, got a phone call, got swindled out of about $5,000 in cash at the end of the day. Multiple phone calls, multiple transfers of money. And my friend said, well, that's nothing. The security expert that we were talking to said, the next thing they're going to do, and so dovetailing off your avatar thing, Ian, is he said, if they can just get you talk, someone will call you and try to sell you something. And if they can just get you talking for, let's say, 120 seconds about anything, you might not have any interest in selling you something. They're not even selling anything that's real anyway. It might just be an ebook. It might be something that they're going to give away for free, but they need you talking so they can get enough voice print to create a full conversational model with your voice. And then they call your mom and say, hey, mom, I'm in Cancun. I'm in jail. I need $10,000. Can you send it right away? And it's your voice. And so as far as I'm concerned, you know, the AI thing, we talk about all the scary big things that it can do. And I think there's a long way for it to go before it gets, you know, perfect and seamless. But the stuff along the way, the number of things that are making it go for bad is terrifying to me personally. And not just because I lived it this year.
Yeah, I mean, I think what scared me about this tool was once you shoot a 2-minute video, you put it in, basically, not only will it allow you to say anything, it'll allow you to say anything in a bunch of languages, which is crazy. Like, it's just crazy. Like, it makes a carbon copy of you, which is really nuts. Like, it's really crazy.
Well, I think the worst thing about it, Ian, if I was going to be completely honest, is I uploaded one of those AI things where you can try different hairstyles, and it said I was going to look good with my head shape, and it was wrong. Look at this. It was wrong. It was a terrible thing. I think you're trying to sell us something. Whatever it is, don't believe it.
So it was like a hair replacement tool or something?
No, I'm just kidding. I don't have anything to replace it.
Yeah, that's okay. Brandy, what do you think?
Yeah, that is definitely all on the scarier side. I would say the most I'm definitely most excited for is Disclose and Motoclose, of course, because it's been a long time running.
Right.
However, yeah, you know what? Everything that's coming, I would say my biggest fear is also probably whose hands it's going into. You know, we could talk about the artificial side of it, and what that can bring, but also I think I know too much on the dealer level and on some levels, and the amount not only of fraud that's been coming, but internal loss for dealers from staff. Like I have a few dealers recently that are suing former staff for fraudulent activity
Really?
without the help of artificial intelligence. And so I would say that does alarm some bells. I'm most excited for it to make dealers more efficient and for us to more strive to hit the levels that clients not only expect but actually deserve. I think that's a long time running. We are not capable as humans to respond and to treat the clients as they've deserved. So I think that guidance for dealers to make them better, and hopefully they use it.
Yeah.
Just to tack on to that, I think that is the best part of AI is the fact that, there is such an element of augmentation to the human experience piece where you can have the staff working 24 hours a day in 50 different languages plus, never miss a phone call, never miss an appointment, have 20 inbound calls at the same time, and each customer is going to get a top-notch experience. And I think that's huge. And I think that, the other half, and we talked about it on the prediction show, and we talked about it on the AI show, is really the difference between what an proper AI model is, and all these disruptors that say they're AI, but they're really just automation or automating some processes. I think 25, because of the hockey stick curve that AI and technology's taken in our industry in the last 5 years, I think 25 is going to be a huge shakeout industry year. It'll start at NADA, and it'll end probably NADA 26. We're going to see a massive flip in all the vendors that are AI. Half of them will be gone, half of them will be bought. Some of them will just collapse. But I think that we're going to see true AI within the next 24 months in our business, and the companies that are truly doing it the right way are going to be the ones still sitting there, but the customer's the one's going to benefit. And in all honesty, our customers are dealers. So, if dealers benefit and their customers benefit, then it'll be something that sticks around for a long time.
What do you think, Larry, on the technology front? I know you're a technology guru extraordinaire. What do you think?
You hear him picking on me, Troy? Me,
always.
$200 at 200 dealers that I keep happy. And if somehow my stuff is right. All right, here's the situation. Brandy and Troy, you just think I'm a mentally unstable recruiter and trainer, but I actually happen to be a musician. And I've got 5 songs that were in 2 movies. And I'm about to have 4 songs in another movie. And the technology that excites me the most is Peter Jackson, is the Lord of the Rings director, is a huge Beatles fan. Who isn't? And they got him involved with Let It Be, and he was able to extract old tracks and make them clearer, which is amazing because so much of the music that we fundamentally love and has changed the world was not recorded that well. So to be able to take those pieces apart and put them back together so they're clearer is incredibly exciting. The technology that I fear the most, Troy touched on it, it's the amount of fraud that's going to be there. It's the stealing of the voices. We thought identity fraud was bad. This gets even uglier and scarier. And I think the thing that I'm also most afraid of is and forgive me, Troy and Brandy, for being so bold, but I honestly believe that half of humanity are subhuman morons. They have to improve to be stupid. And the fact that we're making people less thoughtful and less insightful scares me to death. Now, Troy, Brandy, I just keep getting wealthier and wealthier, thank God, because people need training and motivation more than ever. Because if you think about a salesman 30 years ago, or a salesperson, Brandy, They were funny, they were smart, they were charming, they got you involved. That's gone. People don't know how to answer their phone, they don't know how to smile. Worse, they don't know how to listen before they speak. So the fact that we're now going to plug more machines in to do more work is frightening. So embrace any technology that can make you better, use it to be more effective, but as it becomes more and more of a crutch, and let's face it, all four of us know that's what's going to happen, it's going to get uglier and scarier. But again, it's all plus because we all fill needs for dealers. Brandy, I love telling the story. My GSM came in one day. I owned a store at this point and said, "Can we talk for a minute?" I said, "Sure." I have the door policy, and he let out about 97 F words. The dumbest sales staff all. They're horrible. They're morons. I said, "That's great, isn't it?" He said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Well, if they were good, they were brilliant, I wouldn't be paying you $125,000. He looked at me funny and he said, "I get it." So, like everything else, every negative is an opportunity. The technology stuff is fabulous, right? We all know that the iPhones we hold in our hands have more technology than what they were able to get up to the moon with the equipment. So I'm excited by anything that's good. I'm scared to death of the fraud. I'm triple scared of the fact that people are going to use it as a crutch. And, you know, the equivalent of sticking your kid with an iPhone in his hand or in front of a TV all day and say, entertain yourself. Other than that, are strong opinions.
You know, when I look at people, you know, like all of us, really, I mean, I get paid to talk to people for a living. And just like you, Larry, you teach people how to talk to people. I think there's going to be a real need for that more than ever because as people rely on the crutches, just like Larry said, the need to actually be able to use those tools to apply to face-to-face contact is going to be a rare commodity. And my son bought his first house not long ago, probably about a month ago. We went to the realtor to sign off some paperwork. And it was in West Vancouver. I lived in South Surrey. It was about a 90-minute drive. And we showed up at the office, and I said, "Couldn't this have been done over DocuSign? I bought my last 3 homes on DocuSign." She's like, "No, I need to see your face." And so despite the fact that we're automating everything and there's so much artificial intelligence, I think the need to actually have that face-to-face contact, there's going to be a real highlighted need in certain places to do that. And as much, you know, we all joke aside that you can buy a car online, you can have it delivered to your house. Nothing replaces that. Walk into the dealership, open the car door, there's a brand new vehicle that still has the plastic on the screen, and you smell that leather for the first time. Until they can pump that through your phone or your computer, I think there's going to still be that need for that last little human interaction piece to put it all together.
Troy, not only do I agree with you completely, but have we all experienced where you have the brain trust of the dealership and they still order the wrong car or the wrong equipment? What do you think is going to happen when the public's doing it? These people have trouble ordering things through Amazon for $8.17. So
hey, I'm going to take it. Go ahead.
Human element is going to get. It's going to be because it's so rare. Because Brandy is so tired, like I am, of seeing 4 people at a restaurant and all 4 of them are on their iPhones, not communicating with each other. It's going to be more and more important to be charming, to be personable, to be a better listener. So again, for anybody that's involved in what we're doing or how we're doing it, it's a plus. It's not a negative. It's like everything else. If you use it correctly, any tool that's used correctly makes sense. If you take the most basic thing, it's a hammer, and you're not paying attention, you break your thumb, what good was it? And it's never really the tool's fault. It's the implementation.
Oh,
implementation. That was a lot of syllables. Is it okay to use that on the last show of the year?
Yeah. I want to stretch that out to maximize the value. Unlike the politicians who minimize the value and extend the word sound. Yeah, I get it.
Hey, before we go on any further, I just want to acknowledge the Christmas miracle that just took place when Larry said he agreed with me. I don't think it's happened in the last couple of years, and he said it completely. So I'm going to snip that out of this, and it's going to be my new LinkedIn video.
I hate to correct you when you just said I patted you on the back. I always
Hold on, you have me on that. You said you completely agree with me. You always say, I agree with you, but change every. I'm just joking.
Let me tell you something. You and Brandy and my boy Ian Nether, I appreciate all three of you for one reason. Well, other than you're wonderful people, you're reasonable. The other thing that I fear drastically is the amount of unreasonableness we have. And again, I'm just giving you my opinion, which comes from a lunatic, but a pretty well-read lunatic. We've been infantilized, not as a society, as a planet. And we think like children, and we stamp our feet, and we get angry. So anytime I can talk to somebody that's reasonable, I'm in heaven. Because I don't know what you're finding, Brandy, but the amount of idiots I'm running into, people that are intractable in their ignorance, that's really, really scary. Because we're in both of our countries, we're seeing what happens when you don't pay attention to who you vote for. And that was a shot at what's going out, not what's coming in my country. I'm not going to argue with your guy who's the governor of Canada, I understand.
Yeah, he's not a good look for him recently. Not that that's changed all that much. But anyway.
I'll add to that, though. You know what?
Go ahead, Brandy.
No, I was going to say, we're creating a monster. You have to be prepared what you're doing because you are creating a monster. When we change how we react, it's setting different standards, different levels of service, etc. And so sadly, we've kept that at bay for a bit now. And I thought this even the last show that we had this discussion because so when I started in finance, I was 18 years old and customers would debate between air conditioning and no air conditioning. What is my payment difference? What is it if I get an automatic versus a standard? And now, if you go to do a test drive and the car doesn't park itself, people are like, what? Well, that's not enough. You know, so you look at what we've evolved, and we're talking 27 years. I've been in the industry, but 27 years of evolution. However, I also feel that exactly what you're saying, that human element has to stay in place, and it always will, even since the internet's been out. And, you know, people have started shopping, travel. Some people still prefer to actually talk to their travel agent. My mother-in-law does not want to do the whole travel experience online. She wants to call, she wants to get opinion. And so, you know, I don't know, we can, there are all the scary parts of it, but if we look at how we can control everything with the technology coming out, there's the ticket.
Yeah, I mean,
we haven't had control before.
It's interesting you bring up travel because there's been some heat on that with airlines now saying, I'm going to charge you for carry-on baggage. I'm like, what? Like, that's like the only thing they were charging for.
Hey, Ian, now that I've completely agreed with Troy, I'm going to somewhat disagree with Brandy.
It's my turn, right?
Well, no, smart as you are, I listen carefully.
I love challenge.
And the reason I disagree with you is we don't have control. And the reason we don't have control, most of us have forgotten that it's the customer, the person spending the money that actually has control. And you can bully them or you can condescend to them, but the smart thing has always been to listen to them, to empathize with them, and to maybe throw a little charm in. And that's the real magic that Troy and I were talking about, that you're talking about, that has disappeared. We don't know how to socialize. We just don't know how to make people feel comfortable. Ian has had me on his show. I met John Kostakis through a show, and he brought me up to promote. And everybody that comes on his show at some point reaches out, or I reach out to them, and we become buddies. No one has complimented me on my brilliance or my technical achievement because I'm lacking in both. They always say the same thing. This guy's crazy. I think I like him. If that isn't there as a core element, okay, you're done. And that thing has disappeared. It's just, and then when you throw that on top of the mentality we have, Troy, I love to ask newbies when I'm training them, what do you think car sales people talk about? I tell them it's not sex, it's not sports, it's that there's no business. And then when a car pulls up, three idiots go, he doesn't look like a buyer, send the rookie out. So we already have a predilection to not wanting to be aggressive and understand everybody's there to buy a car. But then you throw in with the fact that we've been these, Brandy, this drives me berserk. Ian has gotten me business. Tell her if I'm lying, Ian.
No.
And here's this. Doesn't tell him not to answer me.
Definitely not. I have people say, "Hey, here's a phone number. Call him." Really? Yeah, really. Here's the phone number. And they're like, "Really?"
Now, why the hell should you get a medal in 2024 for answering your phone? But this is how far we've devolved. I get people that I reach out to, and I say, "I like your resume. Call me." What do? They text me. I didn't ask you to text me because they're afraid. I get people to call me and hang up because they weren't expecting to get a human being. That's how far we've devolved. So as far as the control, the only thing we can attempt to do is bring it to a human level and empathize as much as possible and be as friendly as possible. But that's the problem. We don't. The customer always had control, and now we've advocated a lot of that by making things voiceless on hand. And Troy, we've been there. We've seen people text us things that they think are funny, and all of a sudden we think you're a misogynist or a racist. They don't understand it without an inflection or a tone of voice there. Boy, I'm getting very insightful today, Brandy. Apparently my meds are working.
Yeah, it's funny you bring that up. I was at the gym early this morning. I was talking to a young man who came here from Hong Kong, and he was asking me for relationship advice. And I said, "Well, what's your goal?" He says, "Well, I'm not sure what to think of women today." I said, "Well, what do you mean by that?" It was kind of interesting. But I said to him, because he was intimidated by marriage even. And I was like, "What's your experience?" He goes, "Not very much." I'm like, "You might want to start with some experience before you make that decision." So it was like a fear of everything. It was like, women are a problem, relationships are a problem, marriage is a problem. It's like, well, why don't you start by dipping your toe in the water? I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. But it was just kind of interesting.
Well, that's all because it involves a human being talking to another human being, and I think we're a couple generations removed from people being comfortable doing that. Like my son, my oldest one, during COVID, him and his circle of friends used to get together on Zoom and they'd watch a movie together because they couldn't get together in person. So they'd have a laptop and an iPad or a phone or whatever, and they'd get together on Zoom so they could all be in the same room together and they'd watch a movie. And that was great during COVID. And then let's fast forward 18 months later. It's all in the rear view. Everyone's back together again. And my son comes up for dinner and he eats really fast. He's like, "I got to go. I'm on a call." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "Well, we're doing a movie." And I'm like, "You could be in the same room, right? You know that." And he's like, "Yeah, we prefer to do it this way." And it's that whole notion of, your friend in the gym, if you're terrified to talk to somebody in person, no wonder why everyone's just looking at their phone and swiping.
Well, I see these people who walk in. I see these people who walk into the gym, and they've already got headphones on before they even walk in. Like that's like their whole life. It's like I got a mask on, I got headphones on, and I'm walking around. Like, what do you do? Go ahead, Larry.
Troy, if that's your son's attitude, I wouldn't be expecting grandchildren anytime soon.
In all fairness, though, we did talk. We talked and had some conversations about it. He's a lot more social now and all that stuff. But it was just that was that crystal clear event for me that said, okay, there's the evidence. If I ever thought that there was something going wrong with this generation in terms of the way maybe it was COVID, maybe it's the generation, maybe it's the digital environment. I don't know, but it's all of that together. That was sort of the evidence I needed to say, okay, there's a problem. But
well, you know what?
I'm happy to say we're making progress.
Can I add something in, Troy? I think one of the great laws of unintended consequences is how wonderful we all thought it was when Steve Jobs came up with the iPhone, but the destructive quality that had in people's lives, the addictive nature of it, and how it's distracted. I'll tell you one that's uglier than your son. Because if your son's with you, I'm sure he's going to be okay because you're pretty damn level-headed. Brandy, I'm not making this up. I'm on a call, and they were saying, "Feldman, we respect you. What's your opinion about what skills people are going to need in the future?" And I said, "I think they're going to need to get better on the phone and get better." Pretty much what I said today. He said, "Larry, I respect you to death, but you're wrong." Not like you, Brandy. I love to be challenged. I love a debate. I said, "Why?" He says, "Well, let me tell you about my daughter. She's really bright." I said, "Okay." And I got her an iPhone, and she has never made a call. I said, I'm sorry, say that again? He said, all she uses this for is text. He says, well, wait, that's not the crazy part, Larry. Her grandmother, now he didn't say whether it was his mother or his wife's mother, apparently something happened that was really nice, and they sent her, the grandmom sent her a check. The problem was the check was too large to deposit, when you take the picture with the bank. So she said, I can't deposit it. And the father, like Troy would say, like Brandy would say, like I would say, would be, well, just go to the bank, make a deposit slip. I can't do that. I'm going to tell grandma to write me 2 smaller checks. To me, that seems insane. But again, we're kind of on the outside looking in because we were raised in a different time by different standards. And the things that we think are completely insane, they think are fine.
Well, my grandmother used to write me a check to get an ice cream sundae, and half the time she wouldn't sign it. It was like $3 or something, because she used to go to this ice cream store when she was a kid. She used to send me these checks for like $3. Sometimes there was no amount, sometimes there was no signature, sometimes no name. So
wait a minute. Your grandma schooled every used car dealer at all times. Oh, I made the check out wrong, and that was my last check. I'm back next week.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, at the end of the day, it's funny. As you look at the change out there and the rate of change, which is the discussion I had on this interview, which I'll be putting up hopefully on Friday. And we were talking specifically about sales. He's been in sales and sales training probably as long as me, maybe not quite as long. But we were talking about sort of the evolution of selling, but more importantly, the evolution of skill set. Because both of us had started with, white pages, yellow pages, old school stuff, and are now using new technology. But, we were talking about older guard salespeople versus young salespeople. And, how can that young salesperson add value and how can that older person add value? And it was interesting because he was saying, I used to shoot, he just completed a video series that he just shot. And he says, I'm convinced that within a couple years, I won't even have to shoot it. I'll just do an avatar. I'll put in the script and it'll do it for me. There will be no video at all. It's just, it'll act like him. So I thought that was really interesting. But more importantly, what he said was you look at AI as a sidecar or as an assistant moving forward. It's really being able to embrace that technology and using that sidecar that's really going to increase your productivity and results. And I think part of that is you've got to understand how to do the activity first before you can even add that. But also, if you don't understand the activity, when you add that, it's not going to be good. I mean, that's my opinion. But I mean, what do you guys think?
Well, I think any new technology, if you learn what it is, you learn how to use it, you learn what to use. Well, you can make the choice then to use it or not. But if you choose to ignore it, you run the risk of it passing you by, of course. And I think that there's probably been a lot of great technology, especially like when you think about, all the people that say probably the number one career skill that people are hiring for or that are going to be in the next 5 years is the ability to create media, whether it's video creation, content creation, AI manipulation, whatever that is, because the need for all of this media constantly churning is so great. Well, 5 years ago, we were talking about mid-roll and pre-roll and stuff on YouTube videos. No one's going to watch a video that there's an ad for. And here we are. People are paying, exponentially more money for their YouTube subscription so they don't have to watch a video. Things like that. I mean, you just have to accept that, this whole media thing is not going away. We're going to get stuff pumped into us no matter what. You can choose to ignore the technology or you can choose to use it. Just understand that, like all technology, half of it's going to fall away, and you have to have the bandwidth to study and analyze it enough to make a good decision. But sometimes you're going to embrace a technology that's just going to fade away. Like think about styluses on Palm Pilots; they lasted for like 2 generations of product. Maybe that's like 4 years. Then they were gone. And then once in a while, I get a pen with like a rubber nub on the end, like someone's going to actually use it to manipulate an iPad. It's like, okay, I know it's the first new design that is my age because that's a good thing, right? But every once in a while you'll be able to recognize from 50 feet away something's garbage. Other times you got to buy it and use it for a couple of years before you realize it's garbage. But not learning it isn't an option.
Well, look at the metaverse. Like that was all the hype 2 years ago, and
oh my god,
it reminds me of Lawnmower Man from the '90s. But it's like that's dead. But now everyone wants to wear a headset, which is I don't know if you checked out that one from Oculus or the one from Apple, but I went and did a demo, and that is the weirdest experience I think I've ever. I mean, I can't imagine basically putting my head in a headset. Like I just can't. It just was bizarre.
I had a chance. We had a tech sandbox at CDK head office for a while, and when we walked in there, I started in 2014. So picture that. We had a 80-inch screen that was touchscreen that you can play Fruit Ninja on. And the idea was how do touchscreens or how are they going to work, right? So we just wanted to be able to break the paradigm. Then we had all of the form factors of phones and tablets that were out at the time. How does software present on it? What do people like? Which one can you hold? And then we had a first-gen Google Glass. And you put it on to have a little, like I've got a photo in my LinkedIn of me with this little tiny screen right here. And it was really off-putting for a while, but it took me about 8 minutes to get used to it. And the next thing you know, I didn't even see it anymore. All I saw was like words sort of flipping every once in a while. And now the technology is, 11 years better as far as, overlaying all that data and that sort of thing. I've got a little projector heads-up unit on my windshield. My wife hates it. She's like, how do I shut this thing off? Because I don't like things floating in front of me. Eventually, we're going to be like, wait, if this isn't floating in front of me, I'm not going to know what it is. I'm not going to look at it. It's not going to insist. So, I don't know. It'll be interesting. That whole headset thing, I think, there's an environment that's anti-social enough to actually, some people are probably going to make it work. The good news is, I think we're a ways away from it.
Well,
at least I want to be retired. I want to be retired on a beach before people start doing
it. Think about a family sitting in a living room with all of them have headsets on, and the dog's like, "What the hell is going on here?" It's bizarre. But what do you think, Brandy? I mean, obviously, there's a lot of tech moving forward, and it keeps changing. I know Apple just launched their AI phone. I don't know if it's good or not, but it's kind of interesting. But as you look at Grok and other things out there, there was another one I learned about last week, which I wasn't familiar with. It's called Perplexity, which is another AI engine that I'm not familiar with. But, the big question becomes, much like the metaverse, what do you think's going to happen with all these options? Are people going to just like streaming channels go, okay, I don't want 10, I want 1? I think that's the natural progression. But what do you think?
I think if we focused on anything moving forward, it would be understanding your audience.
Yeah.
Right? So what audience is using what, is doing what, where? The thing I caught is that you had said, even artificial intelligence still has to be told what to do.
Yep.
Right? So who's directing that? Where are you getting, we started this, the show talking about AI and data. Where are you getting your data? How are you using it? But I also will say that there will be just such a disconnect, and I pray and I hope that it doesn't go to the point where we are at such a disconnect. I too have like my own COVID story where literally I went, and as soon as kind of COVID cleared up, I went and did a contract at an RV dealership, and I found my first couple of days there, I couldn't even have a conversation. I stuttered for words. I'm a loner. I can be at home. Like COVID did not bother me at all. I realized what a geek I am and how much I can totally disconnect. But I also realized actually what that did for me. And it wasn't healthy. I can do it, but it's not healthy. And so I really think that we can't go to too much AI. We really have to keep that personal side in it. Mary, you've mentioned that numerous times. Surprising people with that personnel connection will be, I think, where dealers totally take the advantage, retailers, etc., take the advantage. You'll shock your audience when you actually connect them with a human being rather than just a bot.
Yeah. I mean, what do you think, Larry? Are the bots going to save us?
No, the bots are going to make us insane because I've never met anybody, even masochists, that like it when they get 19 voice prompts and then they get hung up on anyway. People want to listen. You again, all three of you are smart, successful, reasonable people. How frustrating is it when you have a little problem and you just want somebody to say, "Oh, I see, we entered it in the wrong column, or I'll fix that." And after 20 minutes on hold, you're ready to commit homicide. You know, it's back to let's behave quickly, let's solve problems, and let's make it clear. You know what? I hate when that happens, Brandy. I know exactly what you mean. Let me fix that for you. None of this is really complicated. The farther away we get from being human, the farther away we get from empathizing, we're done. I'm on a lot of AI shows, which is really funny because my technical expertise is in the negative numbers. I'm more of an advocate, sundial kind of guy. But AI cannot put its arm around you or say, "Yeah, that happened to me. I hate that," or smile. And so again, like we said earlier, it's a tool to be used. If it's used as a replacement, the dealers are digging a deeper hole than they even thought they were, because we're now making it clear. That's all right. You don't have to be sociable. We've got this machine that'll handle it. It's not what people want, and the young people that it's really easy to feel. Brandy, I had a class in Florida, and my classes, Ian's seen them. I go about 3 hours. I don't bore anybody. I'm so nuts. They're afraid to go to the bathroom. They're afraid they'll miss something. And his kid stood up and he was really cool. And he said, "Man, I like you, but you're an old guy." I said, "You're absolutely right. I grew up with the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, Ray Charles, James Brown, and Otis Redding. You have Kanye West. No wonder your brain doesn't work." So we all know that dealers' biggest problems is when they don't know what they don't know, as opposed to me saying, "I'm not real technical. Let me get a tech wizard on this. Okay, I'm not a transmission guy. Let me go to a transmission. But you know what? There's something wrong with my leg. Let me go to a leg specialist." So the fact that they don't understand what they've missed with human contact is frightening. I mean, Troy, I'm a movie freak. Sometimes I go twice a week. I just like sitting in the theater. I like getting the popcorn. I like nudging my wife when something good happens. And I don't care how big the screen is. You're taking yourself into a different element of viewing. The concert videos are great. The constant presence is great. But it's not like when we were kids. Man, when the Rolling Stones showed up in 69 and 72, it was like a visitation from another planet. So it's the levels of excitement, the levels of interaction have changed. And again, you feel like an old guy. I just think we were more connected. I think we had more fun. Brandy, I knew the universe was coming to an end when my nephew, who I taught to play basketball, I came over one day and he said, "Uncle Larry, can we play basketball?" I said, "Absolutely." He pulled out a video game. "So what the hell are you doing?" "I put a roof up for you outside. It's 75 degrees. So I think we can see that, as my father used to say to me, everybody's crazy except you and me, and I'm starting to wonder about you. So they say that 2 out of 3 people have mental problems. So if you're with 2 other people and they look normal, maybe it's you, right, Troy?
I just posted about that actually. You laugh at me because I'm different, and I laugh at you because you're all the same.
Yeah,
I would rather be different. They always quote the wrong person. It was Oscar Wilde who said, "Be yourself, everybody else is taken."
Yeah.
I mean, there was an interesting thing I saw on the weekend. It was about 80s parents, and they were saying in the 80s you had to put something on TV saying, "Where are your children?" because you really didn't know as a parent, just to remind you. Today, it's like you can never do that. You'll be like, "What are you doing? What are you talking about?" You don't know where your kids are. It's hilarious. But yeah,
you get arrested if you treated your kids like our parents treated us. Kid, they threw us out. Go play, and then come home for dinner. You'd be arrested now for neglect.
Oh, 100%, 100%. And I think that's part of it is that there's too much kid gloves going on, and there isn't enough figure it out. Like that's what I was talking to this kid about this morning. I said, "You don't know, so go figure it out. Like go make some mistakes. I mean, they may not be perfect, but you got to learn by doing. You can't learn by just learning stuff." And it was funny. I watched an Elon Musk video today about learning, and his philosophy on learning is learn the tree, then learn the leaves, then use that knowledge. And he says the problem with universities is they teach you to memorize stuff, but they don't teach you how to do anything with it. And I thought that was really insightful.
Memorize, but not to think.
Yeah, exactly. So, any big plans for the holiday season? I know in Canada, our idiot prime minister has given a GST break on some things.
Whoa. You'll get letters from the idiot Anti-Defamation League that you're equating them with him.
It's a GST break on some things. And it's optional from what I understand from the retailers, which makes me laugh really hard.
What's your big holiday plans?
Honestly, like we got nothing going on. We're sticking around the house, just enjoying. I have a 7 and a 10-year-old, 2 girls, and so yeah, that's the enjoyment for sure.
Larry?
Yourself?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Well, listen, I'm rocking. My band's playing on the 21st. We're playing our annual holiday show at John and Peter's in New Hope, PA. As a matter of fact, I think Peter Smith is going to try to venture down.
Rock and roll.
And then, of course, I will, being Jewish, I will watch my full array of holiday Christmas shows. We will definitely check out The Grinch and Charlie Brown, and I'll watch Scrooge 2 or 3 times. Big holiday. It's whether you're Jewish, Christmas, whatever the hell you are. It's such an interesting holiday because it embraces the culture of togetherness, family, and all those things that are sadly neglected.
No Festivus for you, really?
Hey, Seinfeld's done. That's done business, you know.
Well, first of all, every Monday we get to do the airing of grievances again, so it's Festivus all year round.
Yeah, it's true. It's
No Kwanzaa celebration? No big Kwanzaa? Yeah, I mean, I try and spend time with family, so I'll be at my brother's house in town, and actually, really shockingly for some reason, his wife wants to do Chinese food for Christmas Day. I'm like, Chinese food? That's kind of random, but whatever. I guess they're open.
Is this your brother, Sean?
Yeah. I was like,
Chinese food. Know if Canada wasn't turbulent enough, myself and Sean and Ian are teaming up a little bit to do even more extensive recruiting and training in Canada. So there'll be a few more international incidents, Troy. Stay tuned.
Yeah, if you are looking for recruiting and training, the Audio Hub Show does have a new page for recruiting and training, which is obviously powered by Larry and his team and my brother, who's a headhunter, my older brother. And also, we will be launching a new show for 2025, which will be a fixed op show. Details to follow. If you're going to be at NADA 2025 in New Orleans, I'm going to be at the Velo booth, but I will be traveling around. Just feel free to reach out and book a time because I've already got about 15 book times already filled. So I will be in New Orleans with my wife. And actually, Joel from VidCalls will be there, as will Melinda, as we launch our real-time language translation for websites and for VidCalls. We're doing a pilot, which will be at no cost to any dealers who want to take it to the next level to go to 11 with their multi-language piece. And then, of course, we'll be sure interviewing Troy and the boys at CDK. We've got to work that out, but hopefully I have a better relationship this time so I don't have to have that public relations person going like this when I'm doing interviews. But I will have my speaker with me this year, so it's all good.
Brandy, will you be there too? Will you be at NADA in New Orleans?
You should.
I missed you, but Troy, I'll certainly look forward to seeing you, my buddy.
Yeah, I can't wait to see everybody, and our booth is tucked away in a corner somewhere. Typically, we're a little tough to find, but when you do find it, come by and see us. It's definitely worth it. We're going to be showing off all our concept cars too, and some new stuff that we're launching. But ultimately, I love the energy of NADA. It's going to be my first one in New Orleans. I missed the previous one. It was before my time. But I'm excited to see everybody face to face. And, Ian, that whole thing you joke about the publicists, like when the 3-letter acronym of your company is in automotive news every single week, we have to be careful.
Oh, I know. I just thought it was funny.
I'm not going to be on this show. That's right.
I just thought it was funny. I mean, it wasn't funny, but it was kind of interesting.
No,
it wasn't as interesting as the gentleman last year who got booted out of your booth because he was making some statements. No names anyway, but there are some people in automotive who misbehave. I get it. It's fine.
Yeah. You know what? I'm looking forward to having conversations every year at NADA. There's this nervous anticipation of, okay, I'm not going to have a voice in 4 days. It's me, and you're in a giant conference center, whether you're in Vegas or anywhere else, it doesn't matter, but you're screaming for 4 days straight. You have no voice. Your feet hurt, your back hurts, your knees hurt. But when you walk out of there, you realize, okay, that was actually really fun. And so right now we're still in nervous anticipation mode. For my Christmas couple weeks, I'm actually going to our place in Mexico, and I'm going to be analog for 2 weeks. We're going to sit on a beach. We're going to sit at the pool. We're going to drive to, Todos Santos. We're going to have a nice chill time talking with people who are amazing. The only technology we use every single day, and I'll be honest with you, we have our phones in our hands because we rely on Google Translate. My Spanish is worse than my English, believe it or not. And my neighbors, they and I don't understand each other, but we have an amazing time because of that technology. So, that's the only non-analog thing we're doing.
Troy, how long have you been married?
We just had our 10th year anniversary, God.
Well, if you're married that long, then you're used to communicating with people that don't really understand what you're talking about anyway.
Hey, man,
it's been.
She's teaching me how to communicate every single day. I have nothing negative to say. I've got nothing but great stuff. And not because she's in the other room and listening to everything I see right now, but more importantly, I'll
be listening. That last comment was from Ian, not me. I would never say anything controversial.
She's only hearing one side of the conversation. Right? I have to go explain it all to her later. Because she's also not going to watch the YouTube videos. This is too much of it. She's not going to watch it for you.
Now I'm celebrating a big anniversary next year, 25 years. So I'll be doing something. Haven't decided yet, but it's probably going to be a road trip actually, just because I've looked at all this stuff and I'm just like, I'm not going to Hawaii for $7,000 in a pass. Anyway, Brandy, what is your thoughts on? I mean, you're not going to NADA, but obviously maybe we can twist your arm for 2025 or 2026. But what's your thought as we enter this with the NADA? Have you ever been to NADA? Oh,
I have not. Something tells me when it's time.
Yeah.
This is the group I want to be with.
Well, don't do SEMA first. Do NADA first. SEMA is a totally different thing.
I've done SEMA before.
That's crazy.
I've done SEMA before, and that's honestly, it's like you can only see so many tires and rims. Like
it's like a fire hose. Woo! That was brutal. I don't think I'd do that again for a couple of years. It's too much.
No.
What one wheel presentation is apropos. 712 is slightly over the top. SEMA was insane.
Oh, crazy. Well, you might want to ease in there and go to NIADA or NAMAD, NAMAD, because NIADA or Used Car Week, you only get about 2,000 people. So before you hit the 60,000, you may want to start with a lower amount just to get a sense of it. Because conventions are conventions, but when you look at NADA, and granted, I'm happy it's not in Vegas this year because I'm just Vegas out. The advantage to it is not just the fact that they're exhibitors and dealers. The advantage is really connecting with those people that maybe you never connected to in person or you haven't in a long time. I always find that I connect with people that have been connected to me, whether through the show or on LinkedIn for many years. But also it gives me the ability to connect to a lot of people in one place because pretty much everybody from North America, but even internationally shows up. So it's with the exception of Russia these days for obvious reasons. Any final thoughts from anybody?
Well, how about this? Let me just wrap. I mean, we had an interesting year at our company. I had to leave the show for a few months while we got ourselves turned back around. But
yep.
This year, if nothing else, taught us to really value the folks that stuck by us during everything. And I'm grateful to all of our customers that are listening to this, all of our vendor partners that stuck with us, people that are on this call, and all the folks that are on the show on a regular basis didn't make it today. It's people like you that make me want to get up in the morning and come back and do this thing every day. So, hopefully 2025 brings a little bit more stability and more momentum, but I'm really grateful for you guys and for the show, Ian. Thanks very much. And for our customers. But, 2024 is a challenge. Can't wait to get it in the rear view. Start over again next year.
Fantastic. Brandy, any thoughts on what happened this year? What's going to happen next year?
Everything Troy said, of course. Absolutely. Verbatim. And really more so, and kind of how we started, just I hope that everybody utilizes the tools in front of them, understands their audience, spends some time understanding the difference of working on your business versus working in it. And if you need any help, my new mantra, and I really think this is where I had to really reconnect after COVID, etc., but stop selling and start helping. If I can help in absolutely any way, to anybody listening, to anybody, I'm not going to charge you for my time. I'm not going to charge you for my experience. I am truly happy to help.
That's a great philosophy. Larry, we know you have no opinions, but go ahead.
Wishing everybody the healthiest and happiest holidays. Excited for 2025. Troy, looking forward to seeing you. Brandy, I would love for you to have a copy of my book, Enter More on Demons. You too, Troy, if you don't have it. If you guys send me your address, I'll send you a copy. I think you'll both laugh a lot. I think you'll both like it. So,
and
get me your info if you'd like it. I'll get books mailed out to you. It'd be a pleasure. It was really nice being on the show with both of you.
And if you're not going to NADA, I do have hats that I'm making and shirts for the show. So, Brandy, send me your size. I'll probably have some when I come back, but there'll be black hats, and the hats will be in 3 colors. So blue, black, red. No white this time because they're harder to get rid of for some reason. Not that Larry doesn't like them, but other people don't. The t-shirts will be black, and I will have those at NADA, and they'll be at no cost. So if you are at NADA, definitely come see me. And they will be a new design for 2025. And everyone, all the best for the Christmas season or whatever you celebrate, and for the new year. Thanks, as always, to all the listeners and sponsors of the show that make the Auto Hub Show possible. And, of course, looking forward to bigger and better things into 2025. And all the best in the U.S. for the Trump presidency. I'm sure it'll be a game changer and positive, and I'm confident, fingers crossed, that we're going to have one in January, February, and things will get better up here as well. Have yourself a great day. Thanks for watching.